It was a serene Sunday morning in the small village of San Benedetto. The ancient stone church at the heart of the village had stood for centuries, its walls steeped in history and faith. Inside, the congregation sat quietly, listening to Father Matteo deliver his homily. His voice, warm and measured, echoed in the sacred space. The sunlight streaming through the stained glass windows painted the pews with hues of blue, red, and gold. The air was filled with the faint scent of incense lingering from the earlier prayers. All seemed as it should in this peaceful moment of worship. But peace was soon interrupted. The wooden doors at the back of the church creaked open with a loud thud, startling the congregation. Heads turned, expecting perhaps a latecomer. Instead, a large, scruffy dog trotted in, its paws clicking on the stone floor. The animal was unlike any the villagers had seen before. It was a German shepherd mix with a coat of black and tan, its eyes sharp and alert. Despite its rough appearance, there was something almost noble about its stance. Gasps filled the room as the dog ignored the murmurs and headed straight down the center aisle. Father Matteo froze mid-sentence, clutching his Bible as the dog reached the front of the church. It stood before the statue of St. John Paul II, a beloved figure in the village. The statue depicted the late Pope in a welcoming posture, one hand raised in a blessing, the other holding a staff. Without warning, the dog began to bark loud, sharp, and insistent. The sound reverberated through the church, shocking the congregation. Some looked frightened, others puzzled. "Is this dog sick?" whispered an elderly woman in the front pew. "Should we take it outside?" asked a young man, rising slightly from his seat. Father Matteo raised a hand to silence the murmurs. "Let's wait," he said. His gaze was fixed on the dog, which showed no aggression, only a strange urgency in its barking. The dog circled the statue once, its bark unwavering. Then it stopped directly in front of it, sitting on its haunches as if waiting for a response. The tension in the room was palpable. Father Matteo approached the dog cautiously, speaking in a calm voice. "Easy, boy. What are you trying to tell us?" Before he could come any closer, something extraordinary happened. The statue of St. John Paul II began to glow faintly. A soft, golden light emanated from it, growing brighter with each passing second. The congregation gasped, many falling to their knees in astonishment. The light concentrated around the statue's raised hand, which appeared to shimmer with life. For a brief moment, it seemed as if the hand moved, offering a gentle blessing over the church. The scent of roses, sweet and unmistakable, filled the air. The dog, now silent, bowed its head as if in reverence. The entire church fell into a profound stillness, the kind that seemed to transcend time. When the light faded, a hush lingered. Father Matteo knelt, his voice breaking as he led the congregation in a prayer of thanks. Tears streamed down many faces, for they knew they had witnessed something divine. The dog rose quietly and began to walk back down the aisle. The villagers made way, watching in awe as it passed. Some reached out to touch its fur, but it moved with purpose, ignoring the hands. When it reached the door, it paused and turned its head, giving one last, solemn look at the congregation. Then it was gone. Father Matteo spent the rest of the day trying to make sense of the event. He called the diocesan office to report what had happened, and soon word spread far and wide. Pilgrims began arriving at the church, drawn by stories of the miraculous light and the mysterious dog. Many claimed the dog was a messenger of St. John Paul II, sent to remind the faithful of his blessings and the power of prayer. Others believed the animal was a sign of divine protection over the village. The statue itself became a focal point for pilgrims. Some said they felt a warmth when they touched it, others claimed they experienced healing. Though skeptics tried to explain the phenomenon as a trick of light or coincidence, those who were present knew the truth. They had witnessed a miracle. The dog was never seen again in San Benedetto. Some claimed to have spotted it in neighboring towns, always near places of worship, but no one could confirm its whereabouts. Years later, the event was still spoken of with reverence. The statue of St. John Paul II remained a symbol of hope and faith, and the story of the barking dog became a cherished legend, passed down through generations. As for Father Matteo, he often ended his homilies with a reflection on that day. Faith, he would say, is not just in what we see, but in the mysteries we are called to trust. That dog reminded us to listen to each other, to the saints, and to God. And in a way, the dog had become the village's own saintly protector, remembered not for its bark, but for the